Hello and welcome everyone to week number 5, the final week here for the PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds League. It's a mouthful, but we get it out here as we actually are already set up with the first game. It's going to be launching here very shortly. But before we get into that one, my name is Gormizer, and joining me once again on the desk is going to be Heyday. How are you doing, dude?
I'm doing very well. Very excited for week 5. I've been going through the stats here since we had last week off, gave some time to crunch the numbers. And while our top 2 players, Smithy and L2P Lush, are sitting pretty in 1 and 2, that 3rd place is up for grabs. Fine really needs to bring it today if he wants to hold on to that. But many people in the running. And we'll get into some numbers and some players later. But here we see the plane dropping. This is a very interesting plane right off the bat here. Talk about that angle real quick and what that's going to cover.
For game number 1, I don't think you could have asked for something better than one that just flies right over the military base. I mean, like, it's the last week that we're going to be here. And so the first thing that we get to see is hopefully some bloodbath as we see some going down. But as you can see, a lot of these players actually way pushing towards that northeastern side of the map. Some people kind of holding out towards the end to go to Georgia Pole. Some looking like there's going to be actually a relatively large group going towards Pochinki as well, which is going to cause a little bit of trouble for people. It's centralized, which is nice, but like we've said in the past weeks, and like we will probably see today, with a lot of players going there, it's going to be very violent. And if you are as unlucky as me, you will not find the gun you want or need
Sure.
in enough time before someone else comes knocking on your door.
Yeah, some very violent places indeed. The military base, Pochinki, and of course up there in the northwest, the crates, and over onto Georgia Pole as well. We'll see what these players are able to come up with in their loot as we see a bigger spread here. And if we go to that top down again on that map, you can see the players on the west side of that plane and the southwest side, they're very spread out. But everybody that jumped on the east side of that plane is still coming down in some tight formations. And then look at that, of course, the plane going from east to west down on the bottom side of the map, and the circle, the very first one here, is going to be up in the north.
And we can actually see, as you see like a few players, and Smithy was demonstrating that beautifully kind of in the background, as you might have seen, a lot of these players doing the best to get the distance out of their parachute landing, trying to find a vehicle. And now that the circle is spawned, they have a choice of where to go. I mean, I see Zarky up there. I believe that's where Smithy himself is going to be kind of heading towards. But Severny, we have Yasnaya Polyana, Stalber, if you want to go up to those ruins. They're all still in the circle and all really good places to loot. But as we can see, some of the fighting has begun. I see some red circles flashing. People are getting shot at. And the ones that I think are going to have the roughest match are going to be people like Wino Cake, who's sitting there at the very bottom of the military base and that island. They might get a lot of loot. They might have what they want, but they are going to be stuck down there. And unless he finds a vehicle, it's going to be a rough trip for him.
Yeah, so many of those players probably thinking that they have a good shot at the military base, dropping down there in the south and then getting caught away from the circle now. But on that circle, though, the only people that are really very far away from it are those military base players. We see some what look like some new players here in the mix. El Panda King making way up the steps here. There's another player in here. We could see some early action here. 69 alive in the first circle.
Yeah, both of these players very close by. He has a pistol. He's going to be able to take some shots. Find that kill, no problem. Just barely, but there is another player with a line of sight on him. And that micro Uzi, it's going to be good, but it's just not quite accurate. Avery here was not able to find the headshot he wanted. But Uzi v Uzi, House v House, they're opposite each other. I'm not sure that Avery or that Panda knows where Avery is sitting, but like you said, we're going to be seeing some small action. As you can see, actually, with 67 left alive, there haven't been as many deaths in Pochinki as I really thought there were. And with the way that the players have kind of spread around there, I'm assuming that some of them saw the number of parachutes and immediately made that call like, okay, let's fly away. Let's go to a house. Even if it's just one house, even there's only a pistol in there, it's going to be better than signing my own death warrant. And they've kind of taken away, but some still in their cars, still driving around and looking for those cities to be all by themselves, get all the loot they want, like fine over there in Lipovka.
Absolutely. And we see the gangland battle there with the Uzi v Uzi, as you mentioned. I want to point out Machine Gunner, who you've mentioned in your notes and we've pointed out before, who's normally on the cusp of the action and riding that wave of blue, is right in the middle in Rozhawk there, right in the middle of the circle and ready for some action. Here's Savage over here on the ruins church here, and he's going to get a kill.
Pan did take some shots there, not enough to save Chunkster, though. And, you know, one of the things we were actually talking about a little bit beforehand, and one thing I wouldn't be too surprised, because like you said, we've seen a couple of new names, but we've seen a lot of players here that are on the return. One thing that could kind of right them, especially we have 3 games that they can go, they can still accrue a lot of points. Smithy and Lush are the top 2 right now. They are the ones that have the biggest targets painted on them. Of course, you won't know if it's going to be them, but they are the kind of players you want to go for. Knowing that, they're probably going to be a little bit more careful about where they're positioned, although I see Lush and Smithy both going to be surrounded by at least one other player. I think Lush is in a city with a couple of people, so he's going to be a little bit closer or a little bit safer than I think Smithy will be, depending on how it goes up there in Zarky. But we've seen them both kind of show their aim off, so I'm not sure they are as worried as they might need to be.
Here's the airdrop coming down. And as you mentioned, those 2 at the top of the leaderboard. And what I noticed, if people are crunching the math, consistency has really done well for some players here. And we've talked about that the last couple of weeks. What I did notice was we have some other players who've been consistent the last couple of weeks. 1 and 2 I want to point out are Fairy Tale of Sin and Katie Cakes. Katie Cakes mentioned a lot the first week, not so much second or third. but she came strong in week 4. I believe topped in the top 10, placed 3 times in that week. So that brought her up and keeping a consistent spot as well in the 4th spot. And right behind Fine, Fairy Tale of Sin, right behind Katie Cake. So there's going to be a lot of shaking up to do. And what I would like to see in these games, and hopefully the players are crunching the numbers as much as we might be, is that they're really seeing how much those kills can potentially push them up on the leaderboard and going for the high kill count. While we had in week 3 the high kill count of the tournament with 12 kills, last week our top 1 players in each game was 5 kills, 3 kills, and 3 kills. So not a lot there.
Woo. What could be more deadly than a top 2 player? And that's going to be the top 2 player getting a Groza out of a crate. Level 3 helmet, level 2 vest, and a nice ump on his back to go along with that one. Although some shots actually going to be taken at Lush after he gets that kill. He's going to hide around, and we do see Jimmer over there does see him. He has a line of sight on that UAZ, I believe, but it looks like he's not going to commit to the shots. And overall, Lush should be able to get the heal, should be able to get out of here, but I think kind of that fear of just getting one shot off, even though he has that level 3 helmet, it's just enough to make him a little bit more wary about getting in that car.
Yeah, it looks like he picked up the Vector there, moving along in some very light grass cover, trying to find a building to get into, potentially secure some healing here. It does look like he was able to med up a little bit, and that's healing him now. As he does find a car, he's going to move his way out of here. This is a smart move. He's in the circle. He's safe. He's got some great loot going on. I think now, and if you agree, please let me know, to remove yourself from the situation a bit, because he doesn't necessarily need to get high kills. You know, he needs to play it safe at this point and last through this top 60 to try and get that, top 10 finish, if you will, to at least secure that 2nd spot. If not, push on Smithy a little bit and put that pressure on him.
I just wish that I had the same luck trying to find a car. I mean, I have never abandoned a UAZ and then immediately run into a Dulcie. Like, I never in the history of playing this game. I have a couple 100 hours in it now, and usually if I find one car, that's going to be a lucky game for me. But as we can see, a few of these players going to be considering themselves lucky. Stony Baloney going to be taking some shots over there, trying to find it. He has the AK, so they're going to be very consistent, but overall it's just a distance. He has a red dot, not going to be able to get the sights he wants, and calls a little bit of attention to himself. But Scar L versus UMP in a range fight, you're usually going to see the Scar L, and it's going to come down to whether or not he can just find the shots he wants. And so far, he hasn't been quite as lucky, actually taken quite a heavy hit to himself.
Yeah, he does have that level 3 helmet and level 3 backpack, so that's going to help a little bit. But taking headshots, it looks like, from the way Gibbs there, or Gibbet rather, placing some nice shots with the UMP. The only time I find 2 cars together is when it's absolutely not helpful and the blue is just coming down on me like acid rain. This is the only time. Even that Dacia too was in a weird place there, sort of fenced in. You see, it looks like we're over on Gibbet now, who was in that firefight with Stony Baloney there, retreating back behind the building and getting his heal on.
Now, Seaside Samurai is also in the neighborhood, and I know he can hear those shots from where he's standing, and depending on what he wants, he actually has a pretty good line on to that rock just to kind of get that back cover, because as we saw, like, it's relatively decent cover, at least from one side, but with the way that they're going, Stony Baloney's probably going to get caught out here, and it looks like we're going to be seeing Gibbet get a little bit aggressive and getting rushed up. Both of these players have stemmed up. They've got their painkillers and their energy drinks going, but it looks like they're just trying to find out who's going to get the first shots. And Seaside Samurai, he's willing to let this one ride it out, as pretty much whatever one ends up coming out on top is going to be the one I think he's going to hone in on. While they're healing, he has a good period of time to kind of rush up on them and find those kills. But there's a lot of cover on both sides of here for everyone pretty much other than Stony Baloney. He's stuck on this hill, on these rocks, with not many places to run.
Yeah, for Seaside, it's kind of that place where you find yourself in where you want that loot to come to you rather than facing the dangers of going and searching it out. It's in a good spot there in the crates. What I do love, and we've seen this a bit throughout the last few weeks, is these 1v1 fights that people get drawn into. And it's not necessarily the most productive way for them to play, because they're missing out on a lot of loot time and potentially some time to get into a good spot in the circle. But for them to get in that 1v1 fight, and you can just see they have that tunnel vision and they want to take that other player down. It's very exciting to watch.
And that actually really helps play into the different play styles. I mean, I've seen some players, it's actually right now, we're going to be seeing one get a kill, as we see no two skills P2W going to be able to pick that one up right across the bridge. But some players prefer to maybe land in crates and loot every single crate. They don't want to fight. They just want to get the best gear they have, then they can fight. Whereas some other people, they just want to get a helmet, a vest, and a gun, and then they want to go kill you for everything you have and just kind of take stuff as they run through it. And we get to see that kind of different through these players. But some of them, like you said, or like I've said as well, just different play styles kind of warrant different ideologies for where they're going to go. And as we can see, Seaside Samurai, he has had that opportunity to get aggressive, but he hasn't made that push because it's just not worth it for him, as we're going to see, unfortunately, for Twite88 get taken down there by Fast Killer, someone who looks like he's trying to make his way right back into this one, taking even more shots here at the car, getting a few hits, but not quite able to find the kill just yet. And again, at this point, you're scared. You're in a UAZ you're running. Even if you're in the red zone, you're going to continue driving.
Yeah, Fast Killer working their way up the leaderboard as well, sitting currently in that 11 spot in the top 25. And what's your method? Well, we'll leave that word for another time. What's your approach to the crates there? Are you someone that goes in and searches every nook and cranny, or do you just try and find the best stuff and get out of there as quickly as possible? Because my personal approach in crates versus buildings, in buildings, I find my way around them so much easier than I do the crates. In the crates, I sort of get lost. It's claustrophobic. It's kind of scary in there. What do you think about that?
I've always found myself to have a bad habit of always picking up too much ammo. And too much ammo for me, like for some people, it's like they might have 150, maybe 200 shots. I'll be carrying regularly like 300, 400. So I will run through like the crates or a building. When I do the crates, I usually get filled up a lot faster, which kind of forces me away from the city because I'm like, oh, well, I guess I have all the loot I'm ever going to need. And that tends to kind of give me that spark to get away from there. So I don't search them as much as when you run through a building, especially with my luck, you're just finding pistol after pistol after pistol. And then occasionally you'll find like 30 shots of ammo and there's going to be no rifle nearby.
Exactly. We see Dr. J driving off into the sunset with that UAV. Dark Dreams here, high kill count of the league so far with 12 kills in week 3. And it looks like he is being pursued by Krampus there. We are in the second circle. This is going to do a bit more damage to the players if they get caught out. As you see Dark Dreams on the motorcycle, this could be dangerous for him. He's already low on health. There's 3 players there, and he is going to boogie out of there. Does want to mix it up. Looks like he probably doesn't have anything to heal up with at the moment. Dark Dreams working their way up the leaderboard with that high kill count and that first place finish in week 3, sitting now in the 16th spot in the overall leaderboard.
Depending on Lush's attention right here, there's another crate. And depending on his greed as well, he might want to go for a second one, as we see and saw earlier. He already got that Groza. One's going to be landing up here. Doesn't look like he wants to go through it. And one of the things that we're seeing here is kind of the benefit of having a vehicle you can get around very quickly, as we just saw. One of the things I've actually been excited about watching these players, how comfortable they've gotten riding on these motorcycles. Because I remember the first week and the first few times that we got to see people like actually running around on them, driving around on them, there's been a lot of deaths. There have been a lot of flipping and killing yourselves on them. And as we see throughout this, it's been more beneficial for a lot of players to kind of take that. It's really fast. It gets you where you need to go, even though it doesn't have that much cover. But being proficient with you gets you across the map where you need to be as fast as you can go. It looks like Condor not opting to go for the crate, but waiting for someone else to try and lead for it. He doesn't want himself to be spot out and taken down. He wants to be the one who's hunting. And it looks like he might have a bite depending on where these players are looking. Otherwise, he has a free crate when he just runs right on into the circle. He should be able to loot that up, no problem. And it seems like he's feeling safe now.
Yeah, running out. The crates are such great bait. If you really don't care what's in there or you don't want to risk getting the Tommy gun or something, it's a great place to sit back and keep an eye on that thing, have other players come in. What I've been seeing in streams from some of the players that are maybe so good that they're getting bored with regular gameplay and the lobbies are being put in, they're being tempted by their chat to go after every crate, and that gets really exciting. But I don't think we'll see that here in this tournament play. As you mentioned, Lush there. Will he be greedy enough to go for the second crate? Probably not. Very geared up now at the moment and sitting pretty. 41 left.
Yeah, we've already kind of blasted through the 30 players that unfortunately weren't able to make it up towards the top. Machine Gunner be taking shots here, and No Skills is going to be able to find some sight. He hears the gunshots coming down. With these two players kind of firing at each other, this actually leaves No Skills in a good position to come up, flank around, find a kill if he can get it. He has a shotgun, and that aggression might warrant it, but the footsteps, the minute they are heard, I know Machine Gunner will be able to flip around and have those reactions. And he's just waiting patiently. He's running around. Might have spotted him through the window. Whoever comes out of this on top still going to have one other player deal with just right across the street. And with those shots being fired, they know someone's over there. Frag going in, frag blowing up. Not going to catch Machine Gunner as he runs away from there, but it looks like No Skills is going to use that as his chance to go ahead and aggress on in.
And Machine Gunner sitting in a good spot right now, tied for 8th place in the overall leaderboard, just 42 points behind 3rd place. So one big win, take out one of those top 3 players, and you could be up there in 3rd place. He does get some shots here on No Skills as he drives away in the buggy. Definitely gave himself away there with the footsteps, as you mentioned. Machine Gunner stalking and staking out this house here, just trying to pick off anybody that comes around and keep his area safe.
And Machine Gunner, also a player worth mentioning that he is the probably the best top 10 finish I think we've gotten to see, where he was not in the circle. He was not near another player. He had no kills, didn't get killed by anyone, but he stayed alive simply by healing himself over there in Georgia Pole the entirety of the game until he finally kind of broke out into the top players. And ultimately, it worked out for him. He's taking that different approach this week. I think some players last week admitted that they had bet he couldn't do it, so he just wanted to prove them wrong. But as we can see, he's getting more aggressive this week. And Wino Cake, another player who has made it up towards the top, someone who has gotten quite a few kills and quite a few plays, and he has made it his way away from the bottom island all the way up here to be kind of waiting just on the edge of the circle, looking for some kills, maybe to try and pick up some stragglers. And he hears the shots, and the question is he's going to go for it. It's Gibbet again. And unfortunately for him, Wino Cake has him ready and waiting in his sights.
Wino Cake in the 15th spot in the overall leaderboard, and also in a place where he could take that 3 spot with a very good game. Does take some shots from Gibbet here, and Wino Cake is low on health, does manage to pop some medication there or an energy drink. And this is going to be a firefight. Wino Cake's going to go down, Gibbet with the kill, and that's a tough one there. Those fights right there always leave me second guessing myself if I'm the one that goes down in the cover there. You know, he potentially had better cover than Gibbet, but it came down to whose bullet hit last, and Gibbet won the firefight.
Now Gibbet going in for the long range fight. It looks like I Am So Godly going to be taking some shots. SKS with a nice scope on the back, going to be looking for it, but taking quite a few hits himself, going to drop down to the ground immediately. But he has 45 seconds. He has to heal and run away from the circle at the same time, all while there's a player who knows exactly where he is laying. This is going to be one of the rougher spots to be in. He does get the heal off the circle now, about 30 seconds out. But the minute he pokes his head up, the more likely we're going to see some shots come falling in. And it looks like he recognizes that play as well, and he's going to be a little bit more cautious about it. Gibbet, kind of in the same scenario, barely healed up, needs to pop some stims to get that extra healing to get all the way back to full, but still riding the blue, as you have said so many times, just sitting right there on the edge of the circle. It's very precarious situation, because at this point it's starting to do a little bit more damage. It's going to hurt you a lot more if you get caught out, and they need to start running. But the minute one of them spies the other, it's going to be all-out firefight.
Yeah, 5 seconds until the player area is restricted. We're down to 33 players. This is circle number 3. This is a full damage per second that those players are going to take if they sit in the blue. Savage here making a move on Kurwa in the house. Looks like they might be shooting at each other there. And we have a vehicle, or rather a plane coming in. We might see a crate and someone going after that here in just a moment.
What I like about planes that are timed like right when that one was is, and some players do tend to complain about this, but there are going to be drops. Some of them are going to fall outside that white safe zone. Some of them are going to fall where you have to take damage for it. And a lot of these players, depending on if they see it, they're going to have to level with themselves as whether or not that's worthwhile, as it looks like we're going to have one landing in probably the prime spot for a crate. It's either going to be used as bait, or we're going to see a lot of players go down. Whichever one makes the first move here with all of these players around, they're going to go and get killed. Although it looks like Alligator there is in a perfect position. It's landing like almost right on top of him. Of course, still, there are going to be players looking over this one. And unless the land coverage is going to be worthwhile for him, it's going to be a relatively rough shot. As we see Lush still alive, did just get a kill onto No Skills, as we also see Viking Techno get taken down there by Iman Pro. The crate has landed, and the players have seen it, and the question is, who's going to take the first bite?
Yeah, this is a great little section here of players all surrounding that crate. The crate lands right next to a rock, so there's a little bit of extra cover there as well, which makes it even more tempting to go after. And that's the great mechanic that this crate is in this middle of this crazy to the death fight here, where the circle's on top of you, other players are on top of you. You can somehow be tempted to test your fate and go after this crate. As you can see, Alligator goes in. He's got no ammo for whatever gun he's holding, just trying to get whatever he can out of that crate. It's got those sweet, sweet yellow jogging pants from one of those new, I believe, Gamescom invitational crates. So definitely looking the part. Let's see if he plays the part here as well, as he's potentially taking shots from like 5 or 6 players right now if they have their eyes on that crate.
Well, it looks like he's going to run in, loot up, and potentially run away. Although, again, like you said, with knowing that players are looking at you because he's taking shots, potentially looking to heal up, going to be able to get some of those, but run away as soon as possible, get away from the crate. I saw there actually was a dead body there, but there was no other player before him who ran over there, so the crate just happened to land right on top of somebody, and that honestly is enough to warrant some players not wanting to go up to it because they think, well, someone's going to be watching this one, except for the ones who maybe saw it land. They're going to look in, maybe zoom in with your sights, and you're going to see, okay, well, this person obviously has like tried to get something, died because of it. We're not going to go ahead and go into it. But it looks like a lot of these players are going to have to fall back down into the circle as we have the new safe zone. Some of them still outside of the safe zone, taking some blue damage, getting ticked down as slowly as possible, trying their best to get out of here as fast as they can. It looks like they're going to be just barely doing so if they are able to make it. The meds here are going to be the one that is the most important.
Absolutely. 1.5 damage per second in circle number 4. And you can see the circle closing in very quickly, leaving everyone north of the white there to have to push down and leaving this fairly open area as the final play zone, some hill action, and another crate coming in. This could definitely spice things up for the remaining players. 24 left alive. We've got Fine right on top of Tyler there, next door neighbors. This is those are those ones we talked about before too, where you mentioned, you never know if these two players know that they're right on top of each other. And if they do, who makes the first move, who tries to push the other one, or do they both just wait it out and catch someone running by? As the crate comes in, Fine might actually have a view on that. Tyler might have a view on that as well. They start getting frisky and want to run out there after it, and then one of them takes a bullet to the back. We'll see as the circle's pushing in, and we do have a player, Iman Pro, running for the crate right now. And this could be a good kill shot for Fine if they're able to camp this crate from those buildings.
And whether or not Iman Pro realizes it where he is standing right now, that crate's actually going to be pretty decent cover as well away from Fine. On the one side of it, they won't be able to see it. And of course, now with the way that the new circle is spawned, Fine is going to want to leave as well as Tyler. They're not going to want to stay in those houses too much longer. They still have 2 minutes before they have to really make that push, but they're going to be getting out of there as it looks like Iman Pro going to be able to pick that one up. Nice little mini skirt going to be equipped right there. Again, another one that you can pick up from those crates as you can play more of the game. And it looks like he got to get the prestigious MK14, getting that new rifle that comes in. I think people have kind of said it's on par with the SKS kind of damage-wise, but it is a crate-only rifle, and it's going to be relatively good. I like the sound of it, too. It's got a nice, meaty gun sound when you fire it, and when you hear it, you know someone's going to be coming after you. And with the scopes that he has, it looks like he might have a decent advantage coming into this. 14 left alive right now. The circle going to be north. Like you said, we're still going to be on a hill zone. But with the loot he has, and honestly with the equipment going on, the level 3 helmet as well as the level 2 vest, this is looking like a pretty clean run. And I know quite a few players are just as looted up as he is.
Yeah, down to the top 14 here. Smithy, Lush, and Fine all still alive currently and pressing in on this final circle. Pretty much well spread out except for a couple players on each other and looking good there. I love the fact here as they run in, that this circle is completely different from where it started, and we don't always get that. And the fact that they're pushing in now, and it keeps flip flopping back and forth to where the safe side is the south now. Before it was the north, and it's really posing a pressure on these players who are not only trying to outlast the other players around them. As Fine with a wicked kill there, as he was the one that waited. It seemed like he knew that the other player was there, so he takes him down. But the way this circle is just bouncing back and forth and ended up so far away from where the plane started has made this a very interesting match because everyone's had to move so much.
And as we can see, a lot of these players, we normally get to see a few players that find this nice spot in the safe zone and they just kind of sit there for a long time. They're in a house, and they're comfortable. But as we've gotten to see here, no one has actually had that chance. Even Fine there in a nice, comfortable position in a house safe, gets pulled out, and now he's taking shots over there. Gibbet going to be taking him down, or trying to, at least, with the Groza. Fast Killer did get taken out. 10 left alive. Fine with a grenade. Going to be cooking that one, tossing it around behind the tree. Gibbet going to poke his head out, try to get the kill before he can. The explosive's going to go down. Fine get taken down there, actually from behind as Biggie picks it up, and Gibbet with the Groza still trying to find a kill, still trying to find those shots, but so far he has not been quite as lucky as he would want, but he has a grenade, and he's ready to throw it.
Yeah, and he's just on the cusp of the circle. 4 of the 9 remaining are in the circle right now. Gibbet taking some shots from Biggie. This is a great firefight here on these trees. These guys trying to hold this area here so that they can get the upper hand on the rest of the players trying to come into the circle. 7 left alive now. Fine was out. I see Lush there. I see Smithy. They're actually very close to each other. This is very exciting because if they know that they're there, if they know that there's another player there. It looks like Smithy doesn't. He looks like he's running up. Lush may be able to catch him from behind. This is one of those tough spots where you're riding that wave and you're running into the safe zone, and you got to check your 6 for that other player sneaking up from behind. But to have the top 2 players here in the top 7 left as we go into the 7th circle, and we're seeing 7.5 damage at this point in this circle. So you don't want to get caught out. You want to get to the safety of that white circle on the top of the hill. And I love this. This is the true king of the hill match right now. Smithy taking some shots very low. Lush is going to hang out down below and it looks like make a late approach into the final circle.
And with the way that Lush is kind of kitted out, he has a Groza and he has a Kar 98, which is going to be really good and benefit him here as Jimmer looking like he's going to get caught out. Smithy going to take some shots down. One more hit is all he's going to need, but it seems like the tree is going to be just enough. A grenade going to be cooked, going to be thrown. Lush going to be rushing up as well. Now we're going to have 3 players standing all in the area. He knows where Smithy is. He hears him. He has the Groza out, and he finds a couple of the shots. Going to get a couple of headshots, but now he's in the circle as well. A lot of this damage going to be coming down. Smithy going to take him down outside the circle, still managing to stay alive just inside the safe zone. And Gibbet over there did find Alpha Killer, so it looks like we're going to be seeing as Smithy going to save his own life there, takes out Jimmer. 4 left, and he is nice and far away from everyone else. He can heal up and relax for a little bit after that high impact.
That was intense, and that was pro on his to get in that action in front of you, to have someone ambush you from behind, to be able to turn around, take him out, and then turn around and take out the other player as well. That's just nasty. He did have the help of the circle. As I mentioned, it's 7.5 damage per second. So as Lush is coming in, he's unfortunately taking that damage, which helps Smithy get the edge there. But the 2v1 comes out on top. And ladies and gentlemen, so far he is showing why he is the #1 player on the leaderboard.
Going to be able to come out. Gibbet as well going to be able to come out here with a Groza, depending on where they want to find that loot. He is the only one, I believe, left alive with that weapon. And as we can see, 3 left alive. He's going to have to heal up, but he is in the safety of the circle. He does not need to worry too much about getting aggressive, whereas the other 2 players are going to have to make their way forward. Savage there hiding in a bush, but it's right next to a UAZ, so it's kind of beneficial for hiding, but also really easy at giving yourself away. But he does have that vehicle. He can move that up, and depending on the shots they're going to find, of course, in the top 3, they're going to be finding him very well. He might be able to move in and still use that UAZ as cover as he moves up. but it's really going to be playing a risk here. And it looks like Smithy is just kind of itching for a fight. He's moving around a lot, making sure he doesn't give anyone a headshot. But as we can see, no one's going to be having a sniper right now, or at least not one equipped, as they're just waiting patiently. Savage might have a line of sight on him. Going to be taking some shots, but Smithy immediately turns and finds the hits onto his chest. Savage not dead, but you know you're going to be a little bit scared right after that.
Savage goes down to the player zone there after a bunch of hits from Smithy. Well placed. Gibbets had a really good game. We've called his name a lot today. Does manage a nice grenade throw there. Pushes Smithy back. A nice play from Gibbet so far tonight. But also very nice from Smithy to get that kill, or at least help the circle with that kill on the player Savage in the bush. And I was thinking on the bush next to the UAZ is actually kind of a nice touch, because I think a lot of players will think there's no way someone's hiding behind that car there, you know, and you got the bush to help you with that. He's going to push up a little bit, Gibbet here, and Gibbet takes the win. Smithy in second. Nicely played by Gibbet tonight with 8 kills. Smithy with the second spot with 4 kills. We have Lush in the 6th spot with 3 kills. And the rest rounding out there. Savage in second, Devil's Avocado in 4th, Jimmer in 5th, Pizuka in 8th, Alpha Killer 7th, Biggie with some good plays there in 9th with 2 kills, and Fine, your 3rd place player, in that 10th spot with 3 kills. So all of our top 3 players in the top 10 there with a handful of kills tonight.
And Smithy really kind of playing with my emotions towards the end of that one. I mean, standing there, I heard the grenade land, and the first thing that went through my head was like, this is like, we've seen so many grenade kills. This is just going to be another one to add to the montage. This is going to be another one to throw in there. Barely steps away from it in time. Just kind of a few steps backwards. Still takes a lot of damage from him. Like you said, Gibbet able to be the one who comes out on top there, finds the right shots. 8 kills as he picked it up, which is going to be really big for him. But again, with Smithy making number 2, it's going to help really kind of secure him staying at the top of the leaderboard as it stands right now. But we do still have 2 more games to go forward into this one for the last week. 2 more games for players to prove themselves. 2 more games for them to try to take Smithy out as soon as possible. But we'll have to see how that one goes as we get game number 2 set up. We'll take a short little break here, and we'll get that back to you as soon as we possibly can.
See you in a bit.
Hello and welcome back to Week 5, Game 2 now of the PUBG League. And we are ready to go again. We just saw 8 kills sitting up at the top. Smithy making a unfortunate second place there. And a bunch of these players looking to try and go make it back into the top 10, trying to upset that leaderboard. I believe Smithy is not necessarily safe from it. I know Lush is like right on his tail. But at this point, there's still a lot riding on this one. It's still a lot to kind of jump into those top 3 spots, which are the ones, the third place spot, that's really the one that's big up for grabs. But before we see the plane go anywhere and before we see anything go down, once again, my name is Gormizer, and joining me again for this game, and hopefully for the last game as well, is going to be Heyday.
Hey. All 3 of those top 3 players showing up tonight, making it very hard for any of those other players in the top 25 even to have any hopes or dreams of making their way into the possession of a prize. But they're all coming out. They're playing. We have 73 in this lobby. And so far, the first game was very exciting, as we showed. And as you saw at home, there were some interesting circles, which started with a very interesting plane path. This one is going to split the middle of the map, north and south, which means that pretty much every part of the map is up for grabs here and is a potential spot to loot and shoot.
And this is actually going to be really good for us to see how these players decide to go, because a lot of these cities kind of in the center are where they tend to go towards. I mean, we never see anyone really go towards that northeast, up towards Starboard, where the ruins are. Every now and then some players go through those houses, go on that run around the road, but they never really go for it. But Milta here, Milta Power, we have Pochinki, we have Rozhok, we have Georgia Pol, we have Gatka for those players who might care about it, and it seems like no one does. Everyone is leaving it completely devoid. Some going down towards the pier, some going down towards just some of the random houses that are kind of spawned towards the south, but no one making their way just yet until Primorsk. But there is a huge cluster right there in Pochinki, and I won't be surprised if we see a lot of those players. Not a lot of them are making it out of there alive.
Absolutely. Pochinki is going to be fun to watch. But what I did catch there, and what really stood out to me as I watched the players drop onto the map, was that Lush and Smithy are at complete opposite ends of the map. Lush is in the top left corner, Smithy over there on the right, as you can see. So they're both taking a very different approach to this plane path. Fine also up there in the northwest. It's another top 3 player. And as I mentioned, like the spread on this thing can go anywhere on the map. You even see Pizuka and a couple other players potentially making their way down to the military base. This may change soon, though, at least for those players in the northwest, as the circle has gone very, very southeast. And those players in Pochinki, if they can get out of there alive, they're going to have just a hop and a skip over to that safe zone for the first circle.
And right now, players like Pizuka, who are making their way down towards that military base, are going to be just kind of jumping for joy. Half of it is sitting inside. They can loot one side, then go into the circle, be safe. They are going to have some company. And again, over there in Nova, we have 2 players kind of looting around. They're going to be very happy with themselves, because now they're going to be in a comfortable position. They don't have to worry about it. Machine Gunner, again, for another time and second game in a row, he's going to be inside the circle this time. He's going to be going for it, as we're going to be seeing Krampus look for one more hit, not going to be able to find it. UMP, unfortunately, just a little bit stronger on the pistol he had out, and we're going to see Jimmer come back again, and this time starting it up with these kills very early on.
Yeah, definitely. That looked like a Tarantino flick right there, a little shootout in the diner. Pochinki still very well populated. I think most players are ducking in, trying to get as much loot as they can before they seek out the other players there. We see a player there in the woods, just hanging out in a cabin, doing their thing. 66 alive, so already a handful of deaths here in game number 2, week 5, and this is the final week, so very exciting to see how this plays out and who ends up at the top of the leaderboard after tonight. We do see some players there shooting them up so far, low on health. Looks like Dami there is very low on health, just with an Uzi, trying to stay alive. And although it is very well populated, there's a pretty good spread on where the players are. In the middle there, though, those 3 players, you see No Skills, Dami, and Void Remix, looking to maybe shoot each other up and get a kill and get out of here alive.
And you also get a good feel for how this loot was kind of dispersed. A few of these players have rifles. One person I just saw had a pistol until very recently. There's still a micro Uzi in play, and there's an ump just kind of in the background there. A lot of these players, they're lucky or they're unlucky depending on how they're feeling. Close quarters combat, the SMGs are really good for this. Depending on how Domi decides to play this one, that micro Uzi can do a lot for him in these shots. It gets a lot of bullets out very fast, but the question is, can he handle the recoil and can he handle how it's going to aim? But unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's going to actually have to use that as a test. It seems like his patience is going to kind of wait it out. We're going to see Void Remix fall back there. No skills, still just sitting around, only with a pistol in his hand. I think a little bit too shaken to move just yet, knowing he only has a pistol, doesn't want to really break out of there, and too soon with getting shot out and getting seen at any point in time. As we see these players now starting to make their way towards the circle, some of them in the northwest, still kind of looting around, trying to get what they can. If they have the comforts of a car, they're going to be able to make it out. No skill's going to be moving forward. They have a shotgun in the neighborhood, but it doesn't look like it's going to be causing too much trouble right now. Again, the players are really focused on looting, especially in Pochinki. When you see that many parachutes coming down into the city, you know you need to get a gun, and that's kind of the feeling. If you only have a shotgun, you only have a pistol, you need to keep looting.
Yeah, it looks like Void has the M16, which is a burst fire assault rifle. And as you mentioned, those submachine guns, some of these other weapons with auto fire do very well in those close quarters. You can unload that entire clip on a player before they get a few shots off. So I want to ask you, based on that there, how do you play a 1v1 situation like that differently based on if you have, so you don't have a shotgun, you don't have anything you're like super comfortable with going in, and how do you play a full fire rifle versus a burst fire rifle in there? It looked like Void backed off maybe because he just had burst versus a full fire.
Yeah, usually you're going to be looking towards something like that. You're going to be falling back because when you have either burst or if you're just going to go single shot, which is usually the one I opt to, depending on what else is in your arsenal, you don't want to aggress into somebody that's either going to have a shotgun or even a full auto rifle because they're just going to get more shots off faster. It's just going to come at you a little bit harder than you're going to be able to do to them. And so what I like is Void Remix, you know, he's backed off, he's looted up, he actually has a grenade now and a shotgun in his arsenal to use. But the positioning, that's really what you're going to be looking at. When you have a single shot rifle, you're going to be trying to figure out, okay, this guy's in this house. I know he is in here. I'm going to be watching the windows and get an angle where I can maybe see both doors. So the minute they step out, I can start taking shots at him. But unfortunately for him in Pochinki, there's not a lot of safe places you can get that kind of view on a building. And it looks like No Skills is still running around with just a pistol, has managed to get some armor upgrades, gotten a backpack of his own for a level 2 sake, but not so much luck in the rifle department or even the shotgun department. Level 3 backpack, though, so at least you're getting something.
Yeah, he's running around with the pistol. We see the other players are pretty well geared up so far. Craddock kills Vertus, and I expected this to be much more of a bloodbath here in Pachinko. We haven't seen so much action just yet. It does look like Void picked up a pan, so you know he's coming out of there alive. And this, you know, reminds me of the potential of a pan off, which doesn't look likely to happen at this point in week 5, but you never know. We'll see as we scroll through here and we fly through the rest of the town. It looks like this end is quiet. Of course, this end is outside of the circle, that safe zone, which the blue is now pushing in. This is not so much of a big tick of damage. So these players, you see Wino Cake all the way up there in the northwest. They do have some time to loot and still be fine. Dark Dreams here. It looks like he's got a good view on another player here going into a warehouse. Dark Dreams, our kill count leader. And I asked in chat, rather the Discord chat, if he was going to potentially beat that tonight. So we'll see if we can get another high kill count from Dark Dreams. Might be hard to do, though, as we saw in the first game. The top 3 players and the rest of the board are really bringing their game tonight.
And he's also in this weird situation where it's like he has a gun, he has a scope, he has an ump that looks relatively kitted out, he has a nice backpack, a nice helmet, he's got the pan on his back, seems ready to go. And then you see it's unfortunately a level 1 vest, and with the way that a lot of these players play, you want to aim for headshots, that's the way everybody is, but most of the time you're hitting body shots. Having that vest, even though it's still the same amount of armor, or it still takes away the same amount of damage as the other vests, it's going to get blown off so much faster. And so, since the way armor works in this game, you're wearing the worst one that you can get, and it's going to get taken down relatively fast, as we see. But it doesn't look like he's going to need to be worried about that. All the players that were near him have completely evacuated the area. The circle just kind of riding their tails they don't want to hang around too much longer. And as we can see, a couple vehicles and a couple just running, trying to get into that safe zone as fast as possible, and they have quite a way to go.
And he's got that pan too, right? So if all else fails, around and put your butt towards the shots and you'll be safe. The rest of the group definitely moving in towards that circle, still on circle 1, pushing in now 0.5 damage per second. The players will take if they get caught out, but right now they're mostly safe. And this is good for those players that are surviving Pochinki, because they're just able to get their loot on so long now. With the circle right there, they don't have to worry at all. They can just run over there as soon as they're ready. And still, though, a couple players look like they're maybe not getting the best loot. There we see a player with an Uzi. It does look like he maybe picked up an AK at this point. And the player is starting to move out of Pochinki. And this is a tough part for me as a player, trying to figure out where to go. When you're so close to the circle, sometimes it's, at least for me, it's harder to decide where I want to go. If I'm running from very far away, I know I just need to get in there. I need to get in somewhere safe, maybe pick up a little extra loot while I'm doing it. But when you're so close and you have so much time to make a decision, and especially in a hot spot like this where there's players all around you, you can sometimes get just stuck there trying to decide where to go, when to go. When's the safe spot to move? Do you go early and set up for the other players, or do you wait and try to catch some of them out from behind? As it looks like Void could potentially be caught out. It looks like he was spotted by the other player there. They're moving in. There's a lot of players towards the east right now.
Yeah, a lot of players have made their way into the safe zone. And honestly, in Pochinki, one of the ones that kind of caught my eye was No Skills. I saw him leave. He had just that pistol. I saw him leave the city. And as we panned over it just then, I saw him re-entering the city, this time with a rifle, I think coming back for a vengeance maybe, recognizing there's a lot of players there and trying to tick up those kill counts and just get those little bit of extra points as he can find them. But as we see, nice open fields, a lot of players still traveling kind of more eastbound because they're thinking, I guess the feeling is the circle's going to be over there. But one or two places, honestly, that we haven't seen a lot, there are the tunnels over here and there are the craters over, or the crater over here as well. There's a lot of loot to be picked up, and depending on how some of these players are feeling, they might want to upgrade and get that M16 upgraded to a Scar L, or even go for the M4 if you want to go for it. As we see, it looks like Irish going to be kind of just peeking around the wall. 3 players going to be hanging around here, 2 inside the complex or just around it, and the crate going to be falling down. 2 UAZs, a Dulcia, and everyone has a vehicle except for me when it comes down to it. Gibbet is going to be over there, but it looks like the play is going to be coming through, and it looks like Kid over here gonna get taken down immediately by Smithy.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. I really thought he made a nice move there because of Gibbet and the other player there, sort of in the Mexican standoff, if you will, there in these 2 houses, really not sure where to go or where to take the fight. Gibbet, of course, taking the win in the last game, but Smithy coming in and cleaning things up here as the other player made a run for the crate, and we did see it was great bait. Smithy was waiting in the tree line. Irish Gamer Rocks still within the safety of this wall here, and probably waiting just to see how this plays out, because definitely hearing the shots from the tree line and expecting Smithy to come this way as he's hearing the vehicle as well. Smithy coming around the corner. We could have a little firefight here. This is getting exciting because this is your leader currently on the leaderboard. He's going to go down. Irish Gamer Rocks with a nice kill, take down a Smithy. And I believe someone in the chat owes Irish Gamer Rocks a pair of camo gloves.
I mean, when it comes down to it, Smithy did take that crate. He used it for what it was worth. Got a 2 for 1, essentially, the 1 being the crate, the 2 being the kills, looting, and then just not expecting anyone else to be around there. I guess he killed the 1 player and was thinking, okay, this is exactly what we need to do. As we can see right there, an M249 going to be inside the crate, along with a medkit and a nice level 3 vest. Quite a few shots as well for anyone who might be hurting on ammo. And Irish Gamer in the best position to try and take this crate if they want it, but they just killed Smithy off. That's going to be taken down just inside of the top 50. So really, when it comes down to it now, Irish Gamer, whether he leaves with just 1 kill and it's Smithy, or he comes out on top and makes it into the top 10, top 5 even, people are going to be happy for that one. They don't have to worry about Smithy. And I mean, we literally saw just how deadly Smithy can be. So taking him down and kind of leaving that open opens up some kills for other players.
Absolutely. I think if I saw the Smithy name pop up in the kill feed and I was the shot, I'd probably go hide in a building somewhere for like 5 minutes or so and let the shakes, cool down before I went out and actually tried to fire a gun again. That's got to be very exciting for that player. And as you can see, the loot now, that drop crate is all theirs for the taking. What I do love about this game and about the devs working on it is the constant little updates. And the overall updates, you're going to have your opinion on how fast they're coming, but it's the little things, the tiny little details that just keep rolling out week after week that I absolutely love. Right now on the spectator mode, now we're seeing where the crates are on the mini map, which I think is a beautiful touch. And now we're able to see what's inside the crates as well, which is very cool for us. And to be able to share that with you at home is a really cool touch. Gar Flunky Monkey.
What a name, right?
Yeah, this is a great name. This definitely.
I love community tournaments.
Absolutely. I think maybe what we can add for our notes section is just like, top 5 best names or so as we go, because these are really good. I've been down here before in that little crack, just hiding out, waiting for my fate to go one way or another, depending on the circle. Here comes the camera. We do have another crate drop, and look who's there.
And we're going to be kind of zooming in here, and you can see quite a few players. I mean, I see Wino Cake, and of course, Lush. We have a crate right in front of him, and this comes down to another position. I mean, we saw what just happened to Smithy around a crate, so maybe he might be a little bit more wary. Maybe he still wants to go in, still get aggressive. A few players should have seen that one drop, and of course, this one comes down to it. I see crates drop all the time. I'm never just sure enough to want to get aggressive. Lush actually might have no idea that it landed there because he's sitting in the middle of the house in the one room that has no windows. He's probably in the safest spot that you could be in. But unfortunately for him, there's now a crate just outside of his house. He has a car that could get there, and he's not going to know it's there. But he's running that dual assault rifle, which is something that players have kind of picked up lately. Again, assault rifle SMG, assault rifle shotgun, sniper assault rifle. They change it up. I mean, even sniper SMG, sniper shotgun kind of deal. Like, keep yourself as ranged as you want wherever you go. But kind of picking up more recently is kind of what we used to see in some of the older Battle Royale games where you want to run those 2 assault rifles. So you can go in, fire one as a fully automatic. Maybe they're driving by in a car. Maybe you're keeping that one close quarters, but it's going to be like your AK just to get it down. And then keep one as a long range, pick people off gun. It looks like Lush kind of opting into that style. I wonder how many players have decided to do that. And this crate going to be having medkit, backpack, cheek pad for a sniper rifle, and another Groza to be picked up if he wants to try and run that one back. Worked out a little bit for him last game, although not the best that you could get. But still, any players who really want to grab this one up might be able to find it, and depending on who makes their way over here, this is a free crate.
Yeah, that's some good ammo in there, at least. Medkit with good for one of these players trying to outlast Lush and the others here as they try to make their way into one of those top 3 spots. Couple little duos looking for some action here, and it looks like Akalito is going to kill Devil's Avocado with the M16 there, as they are on just the edge of that blue circle, making their way into a very unfortunate or fortunate circle, depending on how you look at it and depending on where you are. Pizuka, Lush, Wino Cake, some regulars there, Machine Gunner even making his way into the circle early on, which is going to be a bridge circle. So Dark Dreams, if you're still in there, I do believe Dark Dreams was eliminated, but this would be your circle to take advantage of.
And the big thing that kind of plays into this, not only is it that it's a bridge circle, depending on where it lands, it's still going to force players kind of across that. But the big thing I'm thinking of is lack of land. There's a lot of water inside this next circle. There's a lot of chance for maybe some boat play if players want to go for it. Maybe someone wants to drive to the other side, try to snipe from the shoreline over there on the island. But when it comes down to it, you're stuck in this position where you have a sliver of land that's very, very wide open, part of it being beach, most of it on either side, really, where you're going to see the center of the circle going to be easy pickoffs, easy places for you to say, hey, I have a 4X and a gun that is at least semi-decent. I can pop your head off maybe once, twice, find those shots, and you're going to be taken down relatively easily. And with 37 left alive, this is the kind of circle you need to bring that number down to essentially 10 when it comes down to it. As we see these players make their way in, they still have about a minute before it closes down on them, but they have pretty much a minute to win it as it stands with the way things are going. This one's going to be a rough circle for a lot of these players. As we can see Machine Gunner, Lush, and Pizuka now just being joined with, unfortunately for Dr. J, that didn't last long for him. This is essentially the deadliest neighborhood in the map right now.
Yeah, and you got to give credit to the engine there for figuring out who actually probably all shooting him in the head as he drove by on the motorcycle there. I love seeing these moments here later in the game when you have some players situated in the safe zone, sitting pretty. These players fortunate enough to have these 3-story buildings, so they do have a nice view over everyone. But seeing players like Halsey coming in here, or Hotsy, and they're just come flying into the safe zone. I love seeing that in the later game and seeing what potentially happens between these players, because they're coming in on vehicles, they're making a lot of noise, and these other players that are looking to get kills to help boost their way up the leaderboard are just, their eyes must be just so big as they see these cars flying into the area where they are, and they have such a good spot to take shots from.
And Holtzy here, he's in a great position to continue shots onto like Lush and them. But again, this is one of those few situations where, yes, you have cover from those players. Yes, you've got the ridge line to kind of keep yourself going. Unfortunately, they can also pretty much only see your head if you poke out, and you leave your entire back exposed when it comes down to it. Wino, Cake, we have Fade, El Panda King, all still alive, all still in the safe zone. That crate, I believe, still untouched in between all of them. Another one going to be going ahead and drop down right into the laps of some more players, depending on whether or not they want to go for it. And it looks like Machine Gunner going to take out Pizuka over there with a frag grenade. That's actually going to be a very big kill for them, just because when it comes down to it, that leaves Lush and Machine Gunner in close proximity to each other. And Lush now has a building all to himself, depending on how he wants to go about it. Might be able to get some loot off of Pizuka if he wants to go for it, but it seems like he's a little bit more worried about where Machine Gunner is now than he is anything else.
Yeah, trying to bait, it looks like, with the frag or at least try and get Machine Gunner looking the other way as he moves around. We did focus in on a crate there that looked to have some pretty good loot in it. If there's any players struggling here in the late game, the players in the northwest there, you can see that are on the cusp, are riding that blue wave coming in, are low on health and just trying to survive. Player over there still with a pistol, looks like. And now we've got a Tommy gun, some 45, and a compensator in this second crate that's dropping here. And this is a great view. You can see the circle closing in, a couple crates there that can be picked up. And Godly gets taken down by Kevaldino 101.
And you could see just right there, those were the kinds of, like, you're very sure of yourself. And I didn't get to see the health bar on Godly there, but when you came to it, he comes up, he aims, bang, bang, gets the kill. That's exactly the kind of, like, the confidence you really want to see when it comes down to it. Keza now going to have a line of sight onto Kevo, who's going to be taking fire, it looks like, from somewhere else. Akalito going to be able to take that one down before Keza is even able to fire a shot. But now Keza knows someone else is watching, and depending on this, is going to have to change up their plan on getting back into the circle and staying alive. Stemmed out of their brains right now, only halfway full, but still enough to keep them alive. You can see the circle still ticking down a lot of that health, causing a lot of trouble. The new circle has spawned. A few players are safe, but a lot of players still have to make their way over there. And again, there's not a lot of closed land. There's a few buildings to hide in here, but a lot of open fields. There's some hills to kind of help you out, but really, this one's going to be like just the lay of the land. Who can read it best is going to be the one who can come out on top.
Panda King finally makes a way to the crate over, still with in there. We are on the fourth circle. You mentioned ticking down. It's ticking down at 1.5 damage per second. So it's starting to hit now for real. So if you find yourself out there, even if you have some really good stims, as you can see, this player here, Terosen, does have a lot of stim going on. It's just going to make it to the circle here, dive down and get that heal on. But it looks like just with bandages. So this is a tough spot for this player as they come in. You see
and
Temp
the new
Warrior
circle just started moving.
Yes, that's brutal. That was an unfortunate timing. And that's when you get that tunnel vision of just trying to make it to the next circle when you don't realize that the other circle is just going to start going right after. or maybe he did notice, but just has to try and bandage his way through. Looks like with just a pistol still. So a pistol, a few energy drinks, really just trying to. Oh, okay. Yes, actually, definitely has the assault capabilities here. Just trying to maybe get a little more giddy up in their step there with the pistol out. Looks like some players here facing down. Kurwa, we've seen before. Iridi and Temp Warrior all here. Temp Warrior making a move upstairs, it looks like. Those two may face off here in a moment, as poor Akello out there is just trying to get into the safety of the circle.
Does have a grenade in his belt, depending on how Temp Warrior wants to handle this one. Might be able to throw a frag into the corner. Shot's going to be fired immediately. Temp Warrior has no clue where they're coming from just yet. Should be able to figure it out from the holes in the wall that he knows the person's going to be left of him. Gets the nice peek right there with the third-person camera. And it's going to be up to him to kind of keep his cool. Frag going to be out. Cooked toss here shortly. And it's at least going to force Iridi into the corner. The damage not going to be dealt down, but the AK going to be able to get the cleanup. The headshot is going to be good. They are still just outside the circle. A minute and a half, loot up, heal up, and get on the move. But there's still players nearby. It's still just outside that house, still looking for it. And we finally get to see some water play as we look over here. We have Rick, it looks like, going to be just kind of hanging out here in the water, underwater, so he's safe from bullets, but has to make it onto shore eventually, and it looks like that's going to be the next call.
Yeah, that was a really nice push there in the building to get the kill. And if you thought that last circle hit hard at 1.5, we're doubling that now with 3 damage per second here in the 5th circle. It's moved off of that bridge, though. It's going to force these players that were in the water onto the land and really into this choke point here that, fortunately for Lush and Machine Gunner, they're holding down already pretty nicely. We see Holty getting a view on Machine Gunner there, getting some shots off. He does have a player behind him, which I don't think he sees. If this player can get out of the water, and this is a tough moment when you're that player behind in the water, you're swimming in, it's just so hard to try to get out of the water and wait for your feet to step so you can actually pull out your gun. But it just feels like it takes so long. He is going to manage to get out of the water. My apologies. But just, yeah, it just seems like it's just taking forever, but he does manage to get out and does get the kill.
And that opens up, again, that point of the land. When you look at it, we have Halsey. He thinks he's safe. A lot of players ignore the water, and stuff like that can happen. You have to kind of keep that 360 view, even if you don't think someone's going to be coming up behind you. Like, the blue circle's there. I've been sitting here for a while. There's no one hiding in the water. And then you die from behind, and then you just, at that point, you're a little mad about it because, where'd this player come from? How did he know I was there? Blah, 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 blah. But you're open to the back. We mentioned that earlier as we see Total T-Mac get out 1 kill here. Rekka looking to get, I think, ticked down by the circle just a little bit there as players still trying to make their way in over here. And we have to see Persilio go towards Lush and Machine Gunner, who now know there's a player over there on the ridge and are keeping their spot of death kind of ready and waiting as they both have a nice vantage point. But again, one of them sees the other. They're going to be able to take them out. Persilio taken down by Lush, who just hasn't the right cover to stay out of Machine Gunner sights.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for that player there. Had to get out of the blue. But that just left no cover at all whatsoever. And as you mentioned, Lush has a great vantage point on the top of the roof. We do have a 3-way fight here, a little triangle action going on down on the beach. Biggie gets the kill on Avery, but does have another player there I don't think he knows is there. And he did give his position away with the shots there. I'm Austin is coming in and actually gets the kill on Biggie. Yeah, it takes a little ankle shot, takes him down. We did see Irish Gamer go down. This is the one that took Smithy out early on. So we are down to a couple top 25 players with Machine Gunner and Lush there. Jay Snipes, whose name we've called a lot in the past, is in there as well. It looks like the rest, for the most part, are some players that are maybe trying to get their way up into that top 25 with a nice finish here. But Lush, with a good first game, and now with the potential to take first place here, as we are now in the top 9 left alive. The circle pushing again in 20 seconds has a good opportunity to gain some ground on Smithy.
And the big one here, Lush and Machine Gunner need to move. They're both going to be leaving their houses pretty much right as that circle is going to be ticking down. 5 seconds left. I don't expect either of them to really start leaving as fast as possible. Lush, I believe, still has his UAZ in the neighborhood if he wants to take that. Machine Gunner going to be opting to run away, and it looks like out of the circle to grab a vehicle to run back into the circle. Jay Snipes did just pick up a kill, and the big thing I'm looking at here is the fact that Lush did opt to go in on foot. He's going to be running. He's going to outrun this circle, it seems, but they're going to be arriving pretty much in the same area. Nice, wide, open field. And as we saw earlier, Lush is not above just kind of killing you, trying to take you down while you're outside the circle. He's going to be turning around, looking for anyone to hit. A Machine Gunner going to fall right into the lap of Royal Titan. Depending on how he wants to play this one, both of these players have the opportunity to take down each other. 7 alive right now. Machine Gunner going to be focused on healing. He flipped his buggy. He's actually just sitting in the buggy, flipped over right now, and I believe he's healing up. He has his stims going. Honestly, this is probably some of the best cover you could have. No one is going to think to look in the driver's seat of that buggy.
Absolutely. Lush, very fortunate, doesn't have a lot of players around him and makes his circle, but it is closing in even further now. It's going to be circle 7 coming up. 7.5 damage per second. Jay Snipes is down the view here of Lush. Lush could pick up another kill. He needs to be careful. He doesn't have a lot of cover with that hill there. Fortunately, it's just the two of them over on the east side. Snipes with some nice shots. Lush does have that pre-med, but he's going to go down to Snipes. He just didn't have great cover there on the little side of hill. Snipes had the tree to hide behind where he could kind of bob and weave back and forth. Lush goes down. And this is going to leave Machine Gunner here as one of our lone top players here to actually gain some ground on some of these other players as well.
And still sitting inside that car, honestly, with what I would say is probably some of the best cover you could have in this game, because I don't think any of these other players are going to see the flipped buggy and think to look into it. Even Royal Titan, who had to have heard the car coming up, probably isn't expecting Machine Gunner to be sitting into it, although he does have a gun equipped, so I'm wondering if he changed seats or managed to move around there. But it looks like Fabe going to be getting aggressive, running around, looking for anything, as it seems like Jay Snipes going to get taken down by Terrasan. Just a couple more shots going to be taken. Yeah, he is sitting in the back there in the passenger seat, so he does have his gun ready, so the minute he hops out, he can just pull it out, be ready to fire. The rest of these players going to be forced to move. New circle is spawned, favoring Terrasan over here. Just outside of it, but still low health. Fortunately, just with the meds popping, I'm not sure how much healing they have going for them. In the top 5 scenario, it's going to be a little bit rough, but we see Fade and just a few of these other players having to move forward, and it's going to be killing down Icree there. Unfortunately for them, they're going to have to, just kind of deal with that. Fade, though, is now the farthest player away, has to run through Royal Titan and Machine Gunner to get over there, and it is a nice open road. Not much cover to really just cover anybody. All 3 of these players have to step out into the open.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Terrasan with the advantage. These players are going to have to push here in a moment. 17 seconds circle. This is going to start hitting hard. 11 damage per second as this blue hits, which could be the difference maker here. Some of these players might not even live to see the final fight. Smoke's coming out. Terrasan going to potentially move here up to that tree. I think is probably the best cover right now. The rest of the players getting a little squirrely. As you can see, frags are coming out. Royal Titan is moving. Fave is moving as well. Machine Gunner's still chilling there, and they don't know he's there. They go right past him. Royal Titan with a nice shot, but he's going to be taken down as well for sure by Terrasan. And that is indeed correct. And we're down to the last 2. Machine Gunner is pre-medded here, coming into the circle. Doesn't find his way past the car there. Terrasan still with that advantage on the hilltop, and Terrasan gets the win.
Unfortunately for Machine Gunner, I just don't think he was paying enough attention to where Royal Titan died from. Not sure if he couldn't tell where the shots were, but he ends up running out. We saw as he got out of the car, he looked behind him to make sure no one was going to shoot him from the building or anything like that. Top 2 left alive, 1 person across the street. Terrasan managing to close that out. A player whose name I have not seen in these past 4 weeks, making it not only to number 1, but getting 3 kills, and a couple of them on players that we have seen regularly come up there. Royal Titan and Machine Gunner both taken down. Terrasan with the number 1 spot. causing some shakeups, and this is what we want to see, or this is what I want to see. I want to see these players come in and have just cause savagery when it comes down to it to the point system. Lush there at number 7. Smithy, I believe, got taken down number 48 or something that low, not really making it that high, and because of that, it's going to be a little rough for him as we see Lush probably close that gap just a little bit, but these other players trying to climb their ladder, and now we only have one more game left.
Yeah, this is awesome. Machine Gunner definitely moving up spots with that second place finish, sitting as of last week in the 9th spot overall in the top 25. Lush moving up, as you said, as well with that 7th place finish. And Jay Snipes also was in the 22 spot last week. Will move up some for sure as he climbed into that number 6 spot with 3 kills there. Exciting finish to the game. I think Machine Gunner just had a little tunnel vision on that house as a lot of the action was over there. Forgot about the other side of the circle. Terosan takes advantage of that. 3 kills there, I believe, all at the end of the game, and gets the win. And if you remember back, we were calling Terosan's name. Terosan was on the edge of the circle, dove with about 10 HP left to heal with bandages, and then had to immediately move again for the next circle and ends up with a win. So never give up, never surrender. It's not too late to get that victory and shake up the leaderboards.
And with that, we'll have to go and we'll take a short break. We have one more game, one more chance for these players to try and solidify their spots, bring themselves ahead as it stands. So we'll cut to a short break and we'll be back with game number 3 here in just a little bit.
Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, viewers, and we are here in the last game for the last week for Season 1 of the PUBG League games. I'm excited personally to be seeing this next game, seeing what we can see out of it. I'm sure, Heyday, that you are just as excited as I am, as pretty soon we're going to be seeing how the plane is going to fly in, but a lot of players still on the line. I believe third place still up for grabs. I'm not sure where the top two are going to be standing now, with Smithy and Lush doing very well, but as you can see, still a lot to go for. And honestly, this match still matters a lot for prizing in the way people are going to be placed.
Yes, absolutely. Exciting match here. As you mentioned, well, most people would take a quick look at the leaderboards and think that things are sewn up pretty well. This could definitely be a shakeup here in this final game of the league games in week 5, 63, jumping into this game here. And while we saw Lush, Fine, and Smithy all alive in the top 10, I believe, in game 1, and all coming out very strong, there was definitely some takedowns in the last game that were maybe unexpected. This is a completely different split than last time, as we went west to east in the last game, going north to south this game, and this is going to spread those players across the map, and rather than settling into the middle of the map like the Pachinki there, we're seeing a lot more players up there in the northeast, and that's Rozhawk area there, and then players all the way down to the bottom of the military base and up as far as 70. This is going to be an interesting game to watch.
And this is going to be one of the things this week. We've gotten nice splits on the incoming plane. I think it was a couple weeks ago we ended up getting to see one that was almost identical each time when it came through. We got to see planes that were pretty much not necessarily the exact same line, but still very similar. But now we get to see these players kind of adapt. And like one of the things you had mentioned, Pochinki almost devoid of players right now. But yeah. Rozhawk going to be personally my favorite place to land. And that circle is going to hurt every person who chose to go west there. Everyone that you can see on the left side of your minimap right now is going to be a little upset and now a little bit panicked, possibly for a car. There are some guaranteed spawns over there. Smithy is in a boat over here, going to be driving around, looking like he's going to get Primorsk all to himself, as he does not want to loot the town with the ferry or the pier as he goes away. And honestly, the people in Rozhawk and all of those that kind of went towards the east, they're going to be feeling a lot safer. And we actually get to see Years up at the top, going through that road, going through the houses, as you might be able to see, just kind of getting the loot all around up there, because no one's going to go up there. He's going to be pretty much safe until maybe entering the circle. There is Private O'Neill, a couple other players maybe going to be looking out for him. But as it stands right now, everyone looking to just try and get their loot on, and Smithy having an entire city to himself. That just feels dangerous saying it.
Absolutely. That's going to be very nice for him. And if he wanted to, he could continue west around the coast, go all the way north, and then make his way down the river and still get into the circle with this really long blue circle at the beginning of the game. There's enough time to do that, definitely. I'm a boat person myself, so I know. In the meantime, though, Fine, Dark Dreams, and Lush are all sitting pretty in the circle. They all picked the correct way to go out the plane on a whim or a guess there. And Lush has Milta Power all to himself. Fine has that amazing city on the coast there that I definitely like to loot in from time to time. And that's going to be some nasty firepower potential for these players early on in the game, having these places to themselves.
Some of my favorite things to see when you're watching the map, and they can tell a story even though you don't get to actually see the action. One was Lush there, you see his icon in a car, and then you see his icon get out, and then you see his icon take a lot of damage because he jumped out of the car just a little bit too early, forced to use a med just because of that. But like you said, he has Milta Power to himself. It's not going to matter too much to him, as we finally have, it looks like some crates going to be spawning, dropping down, coming through. Private O'Neill is standing right by one. He gets the ruins to himself, and he gets a nice crate all to himself as well. I'm not sure if he realizes that he is alone up here, but he has a nice M24 ability to pick up with an 8x in the crate as well. That's going to be a big pickup if he can use it. Private O'Neill is one of those players that we saw. He can be very deadly if given the right equipment, and that is the right equipment.
Absolutely. A lot of times privates, they are a good shot. They're your infantrymen. So that is potentially a good pickup there. And with Lush there, as you mentioned, that H1Z1 muscle memory is hard to shake sometimes. Sometimes you get out of the vehicles a bit too quickly for the liking of the vehicles here. We do have Seaside Samurai, Hyper Champ, and Alpha Killer 200 here, all in a tight little area in the town. Alpha Killer with just an Uzi, low on health, doesn't look like has any heals. This could be a good firefight here as the circle is going to come in about 2 minutes, which gives players time to loot, but they're going to start closing in, trying to get to the safe spot, as this is the final game for these players to try and get points and move up the leaderboard.
Now, with a lot of these players still moving their way in, some of them just outside, I'm waiting for Private O'Neill to maybe notice that crate, or someone going to get it, or maybe that'll be the one that kind of goes void. No one picks it up anywhere. But as we can see, we're having some players get killed, 57 left alive. Roshawk's still a relatively hot spot, but no one really finding the kills, no one fighting too much. Alpha Killer there is very low, but no one has seemed to kind of crack down on him. Justway there going to be all alone in the school, very happy with his positioning and honestly getting all of that loot. And again, one of the things that catches me off guard, I mean, no players really like going for the crate or going for a crater, going for the tunnels, even though there's going to be good loot there.
Absolutely. And that's the thing too, is with these areas like this, the Justway is all by himself at the school. We see a player down there all by themselves at the apartments. It's going to be interesting to see the ebb and flow and the sway of how these places become the meta and become not part of the meta based on people's comfortable ability of being in those places. And we see that a lot of players have been avoiding these hot spots. So if you're paying attention and you're playing in this league, maybe you start to go to these hot spots because you know no one else is going to be there. And then that starts becoming a hot spot once again. It's going to be very cool to see.
Ever shifting.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see a player down there in the bunkers. How many times have we seen that? Like twice maybe. In this league here. My least favorite place on the entire map, this crater here. Tyler goes here and he has the absolute run of the place. When I go there, I'm shot in the head before I can even get out of my parachute. So it's very interesting to see the difference in play when it comes to tournament play, league play versus the filthy casual quick match play, as we see Dark Dreams there for a moment. And it doesn't look like the crate was picked up, those players moving off to the northwest. As you see Smithy still working on the town over there. Machine Gunner for the first time all night, way outside the circle. So we'll see how that plays out here in a moment.
A lot of players still going to be working on their movement. And as we've actually seen, a lot of them aren't scared of that first circle. And there's not too much of a reason to be unless you don't have any meds. Then you need to start getting a little bit worried. But as you can tell, just kind of based on their composure and how they're running around, I don't think they're going to be too worried about what they're picking up right now. I think I actually see Smithy's name only with a pistol, but he might just be using that to run a little faster. A few of these players are going to be catching each other out as they gather themselves in. Yeah, he has a nice set on his back that it looks like a M4, possibly stacked up with some nice equipment on there, as well as a nice silenced car to come in. And again, when you come down to it, you do not want Smithy to have weapons he's going to be comfortable with. He is going to be stable in shooting, and he is going to be silent when shooting. And when it comes down to it, that's going to be deadly enough to put him possibly back in the top 10 where he wants to be, depending on how he plays it. He might even be able to come back. I mean, last week, or 2 weeks ago, I guess at this point, week number 4 in the third game, he was able to kind of close out and bring himself back to the top and get a win again, possibly looking to run that back. Maybe game number 3 is just where he works best.
And the last thing you want to see with Smithy, if an opposing player, is him with a car with K and the car with C. He's got all kinds of mobility. He's got all kinds of firepower. As we see Jacko Killer doing some work here from the crates. And it definitely nice. All these hot spots with a nice shot there. But a lot of these hot spots we've seen just like one player kind of owning them tonight, which will, I think, make for a very, very exciting final circle, because so many of these players could be geared up going in there that they might play a little bit more aggressive than they usually would there, thinking that they have some extreme firepowers. We have a nice swimming shot. Phelps would be proud. And, going into those final fights with some serious firepower, thinking you have the upper hand and going in maybe a little too aggressively, we'll have to see. Killer there makes his way past the Doom buggy to loot up on the corpse that he just ended. And Terosan there is working into the circle with the boat. Gonna take some shots here. Oh, what a shot from Killer. Gets the shot on the moving target and goes back to the loot like nothing happened.
So what was number 1 is now number 52. Tarasan, he went for that play that you were mentioning earlier. It's not exactly the same as what Smithy would have had to do, which is ride up all the way around the coast and go in. But riding that river down drops you right into the circle if you can ride it. And getting the boats, there are actually quite a few spawns up there that are going to be really worthwhile. But as we see, it's not always the best if you get caught out. Machine Gunner doing his typical play, not inside the circle. Honestly, I don't expect to see him over there until maybe the 3rd circle, 4th circle when it comes down to it. He's going to start making his way over there soon because he's on the other side of the map and it's going to take a little bit of time. But as it stands, he never is too worried about that. A lot of these players now collapsing in, and with only 49 left, they're going to have a lot to deal with. And Smithy going to be making his way in. He has his car. A couple other vehicles going to be driving in here. And as far as I can tell, no one's quite set up yet to be kind of that I'm going to pick you off as you come into the circle just yet. It's still going to be circumstantial until they get the exact right loot they want. But as it stands right now, everyone's still just kind of worried about, the last game, the making sure everything's right. And Fast Killer just got taken down by Fine, so that's going to be a nice point for Fine. But unfortunately for Fast Killer, even though his name's been called out quite a few times, he's out of the match.
Yeah, it's interesting what you mentioned as far as set up and the game to be set up in. With the circle going so far to the east, there so many players are going to be flying into that safe zone in vehicles that it would be great for the players that are over there already to sort of set up and pick them off as they come in. As you can see, the circle pushing in, and there's a lot of players outside the circle. And on the flip side of that, out in the ocean there, Yeeters is setting up in a boat all alone, just chilling, maybe fishing. I'm not sure if they've added that mini game yet to Battlegrounds, but it is a possibility there. Oh, I like this. Just there's no way anybody's getting you from the land there and sitting pretty. Hopefully he's geared up because this is a play sometimes, you want to make, you want to be safe, you want to stay out there and just sort of wait for the circle to come in and see. But if you don't have the gear to back it up, well, then you're going to have a hard time when you finally get onto the beach. Plane coming in. This could be a good opportunity for one of the players that's already in the circle there to get even more geared up. As I saw also Lush on the map, really just no contest in the loot game over there, really potentially able to get geared up, as we do see finally a couple other players going into that Milta Power area. Thanks for the crate, Plane. Maybe we'll get that one next week.
Yeeters was sitting out there. He's hidden, like
oh,
you
that's
said.
Sorry, that crate's not so far out. Yeah, he's got a shotgun out in the water.
And no vest. He had no vest either. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, there's always a possibility he hops on the boat, drives it right onto shore, hops out, and just gets the perfect shot. I actually think I just saw Smithy's name in the kill feed there. So that might be a big player taken out of the game again. And, I mean, that happened last time looking around. I don't see him anywhere on the map. And it looks like it might have just made this game a little bit easier. And honestly, that opens up. If Lush can make it to the top 10 with Smithy no longer here, he has some potential. He gets some high kills, takes another number 1. We might see even a toss-up for the number 1 spot, not even just number 3.
Yeah, Fine's still in the game as well with 2 kills. And these players, they're packing in now into the circle. We're going to start getting into the circle that hurt. Just in the second circle now. There's where that crate dropped. I thought I was dropping down by military from the angle. But this is free for the taking. And Groza 762 level 3 helmet. This is a nice pickup for someone that wants to charge into that circle and be well prepared for it. As we see pulling back now. A couple players still out, need to make their way into that circle. Who is that? Oh, that's Viking Techno out there. And a couple players moving in. Machine Gunner just so far out of the circle, as we do have Viking Techno does have a view of that red smoke. It's going to be moving in on that crate. We'll see if he gets a hold of it. Yeah, definitely scoping it out, trying to see if anybody's around. This could be a great pickup for him. You can see he's already geared up pretty well. Level 3 backpack, level 2 helmet. Got the pan for the little keister protection. And moving in now with the car. And what is that? What is
Looks
that
like
rifle?
another M4 kind of in
Oh
his
yeah,
hands
there you
there.
go.
And I mean, as he moves forward here as well, this is going to be like you had said when you saw the crate, a nice pickup for him. I like the caution that he had coming in, like just kind of checking it out with the car, getting the scope down. But we do have the circles about to 20 seconds until it closes down. Machine Gunner is out of the circle on a motorcycle, driving through the red zone, and unfortunately, he's not going to make it out alive. I feel like I jinxed him because I was literally just about to say he is just riding the equivalent of death at this point. He is running, I mean, outside the circle, taking a lot of tick damage. You're riding a motorcycle, you're going to flip and kill yourself, and you're in the red zone, and we are just lucky enough to see him blow up. Unfortunately, not every play outside the circle is going to work out for you.
Yeah, that's that caster's curse. I was thinking the same thing. I love that it's back. I was thinking he's definitely going to make it through this, come flying in and take someone out with that thing. But unfortunately for him, the red zone proves to be fatal. Curva here making a way in the buggy, and we still have Veters out there in the ocean. It's way out there. It doesn't need to move at the time. And a couple players now just outside the circle. They're moving in. The blue's moving in. And this is going to be circle number 3. This is going to start hitting pretty hard. 1 damage per second is the tick if you get caught out there.
And with the way that a lot of these players are moving, and actually with the way that the circle spawn, Yeeters is probably going to be one of the safest. It's fine, taking a lot of shots there from Jimmer. Looks like he's going to be able to get into cover, but Jimmer's not going to be patient with us. I like the aggression. He gets the shots. He recognizes what Fine is going to be doing, and he pushes up on him. He knows he doesn't have enough time to get on to Fine there. Unfortunately, it seems like he draws some attention to himself as well. He's going to be taking some hits from behind. A couple more shots. One hits the motorcycle, and Fine is going to find the final kill there, the final hit that he needs there for Jimmer. Now 35 left alive. Fine taking up his kill rate as high as he can, but he manages to stay alive through another fight, and that's exactly what he needs to continue pushing this, possibly trying to find himself pushing for that second place spot as he's currently standing, like we mentioned, at number 3. Anything is going to be a nice little boost for him.
Oh, I hope this crate drops in the water. I've been out just hanging out, and I've had that crate drop in the water, and it was happy birthday to me. People try and come out there, and you have such an upper hand over them to get that crate. You just put a boat between yourself. It looks like it might hit, though, on the cliffside. And this is Gar Funky Monkey again over there. Loving this name. Potentially in a position to get that. It looks like it actually is going to hit the water. So Yeeters could come and pick that up. Really have no contest there. And that could be a difference maker. You mentioned he has that shotgun. There could be something nice and sweet in there. As Iridi was making its way into the circle, one of the last few players outside, but does get taken down by Jabron Lame.
Yeeters, a bold strategy coming out of this one. Still opting to stay. Actually, no, hops into the boat. He is... Never mind, he's just going to sit there. I think now he's just going to be in the first seat. That's what he's going for, what his plan is looking to be that crate. He's going to be moving forward.
Yes.
This could be the big play. I mean, who needs a vest? Who needs a gun when a crate just lands in your waters? This is his house right now. And like you said, with a boat there to provide cover, even if some of these other players that are nearby hear the boat, see him even driving up to it, they're not going to be able to get those great hits on him unless he is in that boat. And depending on what exactly is going to be in here, there's a nice MK14. He can get a good rifle from it, a ghillie suit, and a med kit for that full heal. This is actually going to be one of the better things. This is pretty much everything he needs except for the vest. And honestly, at that point, as long as he can hit those shots, use that ghillie suit well, although not going to work quite well in the water. As long as he can use it well, he will be able to find those shots first. Garflunky Monkey just kind of chilling, hanging out.
Yeah, he's got his lean on. I thought he might. This is what I'm excited for right here. I've been out in the water in a boat going for a crate just like this, and then other players come in the boat, and you definitely have the upper hand on them because they have to drive up to you while you can go back and forth between the seats, get your guns out. But Garfunky Monkey taking some shots here on Chrissy, and now it's going to be a boat race. This is exciting stuff. This is where they start to go back and forth between those seats and try to get some shots on each other. As we go back to the land here, look at those boats out there. It's like Miami Vice all over again.
We actually get to see what would be the modern day equivalent of a pirate war. Both of these players doing their best to try and get these shots as best as they can. Like you said, switching seats. You're driving, you have the momentum, you switch to the passenger seat, pull your gun out, and flip around as fast as you can, try to get those headshots. And of course, the distance here is going to be playing a big role. You have to adjust for the fact that they're moving as well. And it looks like Yeeters might just opt to go right back to his old strategy and is going to park his boat out there. I'm not sure what heals. I mean, I know he has a med kit if he got that crate, but other than that, I don't know what it's going to be. Yeah, you can't heal in the water, so it's going to be a little bit rough for him. But MK14, he has a shotgun. Ghillie suit, again, not really going to blend into the water. Maybe somebody might mistake him for some seaweed or something. But when it comes down to it, he has the boat. He's going to feel a little safe.
Yeah, this is turning into quite the... As another player, Triple G Ace sees him out there. This might be a good old pirate showdown, as you mentioned, coming out. Maybe try and take him out. He's got a nice yellow jacket on, so you know, they're all styling. Ghillie suits, track suits. We'll see what happens here. Yeeter's just sitting there. Goes in the 5th seat, which is an interesting one there. I like it, though, because I think players probably expect you to go into the 2nd or 3rd seat. Getting some shots off on Triple Ace, but none of them land. It looks like Fine picked up a kill on the land. That's a big one there, because Fine, up until tonight, was sitting in 3rd place. Has an opportunity not just to solidify that 3rd, but to maybe even push up to 2nd.
I forgot we even had land battles here, as we actually get to see a couple of these players still battling for it. And it seems like with the way the circle's going, they're going to be pulling a couple of those players out in the water. I mean, the boat action, that's one of those things we don't get to see it a lot, so it's always really exciting. Even if it's just 3 or 4 players, it's one of those things that it's like finally you get to experience. Like there's other ways to play. Sometimes you get to see that with cars, but getting that experience with the boat is just a little refreshing after you see, I mean, even with how random this game can be, you get to see something new pretty much every week. And this week got to be those boat wars, as it seems like we're seeing. Yeah, take some shots at Jabron Lames, but not able to get it. Dark Dreams died outside the play zone, unfortunately for him. One shot good. Jabron Lames almost dead, but not quite yet. And Jayan, yeah, holding that angle, just trying to make sure he can get the shot first. It looks like he's going to take some premature shots. Not going to be able to find it. No grenade, really. No frag, at least, to his name. So he doesn't have that advantage of being able to get in. Plus, that's quite a distance between the two of them. So might not be feeling comfortable with his shots.
Great angle there, though, with the blue, that wall of blue coming right up to the edge and just forcing you to be in such a tight little spot to fight from. And this is what we were talking about before, or at least I was talking about before, where these players, like, they're so far outside of the circle at this point in comparison to the rest of the group, but they're just so focused on fighting each other. And, you know, sometimes you have to make sure that other player is dead before you run, but you get so tunnel visioned into fighting that other player, and it becomes a standoff as we have here. We got the scope here a bit, but nothing more than the digital scope. As you see, yeah, making a move, and this is where you can get these shots off, as you can see Jabron Lames is as well, but it also gives you an opportunity to see him running to move out of that spot you were stuck on. So as soon as someone makes a move, you could make a move as well. Lush still in the game, and I think that's the player to watch, besides these epic boat battles, just as Lush has an opportunity to solidify that 2nd spot and maybe even knock on Smithy's door. We'll see.
Yeeters has made his way out of the sea onto the land. He's slowly evolving from a guy who is just sitting in the water with a shotgun to now a ghillie-suited sniper waiting patiently. As a few other players sitting out here, they have about 10 seconds, 15 seconds until we see the circle close in on them, and that's going to be where the big play is starting to come in. Is what the circle's going to force. A lot of these players aren't in a very comfortable spot. Yeeters is probably one of the few who is going to be comfortable no matter where he is, because he can just lay down and blend into the grass. People like Tyler right now running across an open field with a single tree to cover them might catch sight of Yeeters, might catch sight of who we have here on the beach, and maybe find some shots. But when it comes down to it, you're exposed. You're exposed from all angles. You're waiting on the edge of the circle specifically to try and get some of the kills on people who are going to be coming in from the sea. And as we saw earlier, there were a lot of people running around here. And the circle, now about halfway closed, going to be forcing a lot of these players forward.
Yeah, Yeeter's just chilling there. And it looked like the player got a view on him, but didn't see him because of the ghillie suit. Here comes another crate. And here comes the blue as well, pushing in. This is going to jump up to 3 damage per second. You see Rekka coming in with a car. This is going to alert all those players there. You can see Condor coming out from around the corner, and Rekka goes down. Just too much noise there in such a tight circle. The blue's going to push Condor, though, in here, and has no scope on that rifle. It's going to be hard to hit these shots, although nice shots on Tyler. But this is going to give both of their positions away to Yeeters there, who is in a good spot there on the hill and almost invisible. Looks like Tyler goes down as well.
Yeah, Chrissy taking out Tyler there's actually going to open this up. Yeeters now doesn't even have to worry about the repercussions. Condor running in. I think he missed him. No, he finally sees him. He catches him there in the edge of his camera. Going to be able to take those shots, just hold the aim. One shot, one kill. That's all it's going to take. MK14, 15 left alive. One of them going to be Yeeters, who, at the beginning, honestly, if you had told me that the guy who had a motorcycle helmet and a shotgun was going to be able to make it this far, I would have disbelieved it. But the crate going in his way, the boats working out in his favor, and now trying to find some kills with his equipment. He's going to be good, but he does need to move. He's going to be able to loot up off Condor, but then he needs to make his way right into the new safe zone.
Yeah, the safe zone on the other side of the circle now, and there's a fine line of players. 6'2", cheek pad, backpack, and why not a padded purple jacket in there as well in the crate. Wildin' and styling here in Game 5, or Game 3 rather, in Week 5 here for the PUBG League. Finals is what it's coming down to here. We're not getting the pan off we wanted, but we are going to have a first, second, and third place finishers here after tonight. We still see Wino Cake in there, so very strong throughout the weeks. Fine in as well. And is Lush still alive? Is Lush in there? Because this is going to be pretty good for both of those players as we have 13 left. Looks like Lush went down.
Not on the board anymore. 13 left alive. Fine still there. If he can close this one out, it's going to be a nice set of chunks, especially because we've been seeing he's been getting kills. It hasn't been a passive game for him. So each one of those is going to tick up a little. Like, it's just a few extra points, but when it comes down to it, that could be the difference. I mean, we were looking at the leaderboard beforehand. There are a couple players on there. They are separated by a single kill. One kill is what would make them tied up or even be able to kind of take themselves ahead of someone else here. And so that's going to be making a big difference now. We're in the final 10. People are going to be closing in here soon. Yeeters, it looks like, has made his way into the circle. And again, he has probably the best cover, even without cover, because of that ghillie suit. Players like Wino Cake here are going to be a little bit worse for wear just because they're standing partially exposed, but partially with the ridge to kind of give themselves a nice kind of perspective over everyone else. Possibly find some snipes out from up here. But with the way it's going, it looks like he's going to have to be a little bit more patient. And I like the kind of the care that we're seeing now that we've entered the top 8.
Gibbet with the double kill. We called his name a lot. And so moving into this Game 3 strong. And they're all sort of spread out there except for this little duo here, Kurwa and Craddock in the houses. They're in a good spot, but is this this is a different finale than we had in the last circle. I thought we were flashing back to a little deja vu of where Machine Gunner had flipped his buggy, but it is a different spot. There's not going to be much cover here as this circle pushes in. There's a few trees, a little shack, but these players are going to have to push in here. In about 50 seconds, the circle is going to move. This is going to start to do really big damage, 7.5 per second. And as you can see there in the overview, there's only 2 players, maybe even 1 at this point, that are in that circle at the moment, setting up.
Now, one of them, though, is going to be Fine, who did just pick up yet another kill, and now is going to be turning his eyes away. He actually ran away from the circle, but again, this is more of a reposition after giving away where he has been standing. I think he had some shots onto Wino Cake there, and he's trying to get like a little bit aggressive repositioning to try and find the best spot to stand. Still just outside the circle, not too worried about this blue line because of his proximity to it. But like you had said, not a lot of cover here. It's going to favor those who want to linger. But again, with the damage that it's doing, it's going to hurt. You have to be very, very careful in how you play this next circle. And we're seeing Kodawa, Giblet over there, all of them going to be stuck in this kind of position where they have line of sight. They have the ability to take down some of these top names. But it looks like it's going to be Fine and Wino Cake going to be in the fight. And we're going to see Chandler God get taken down. 6 left alive. Gibbet going to be running right on into the circle.
Yeah, into the circle, Gibbet goes. And this is without that dancing around here. He's going to get... But he turns around and takes down Jabron, that's just the awareness of a player, a veteran player, someone who's on the top of leaderboards, to be able to turn around like that, anticipate someone coming out of the blue and to take them down. He's going to get snuck up on again here. Can he do it 2 times in a row? This is going to be tough. Wino Cake pushing in as well. And this circle does not really favor anybody right now except the player at the top there of the circle. Looks like Yeeters once again
Yep.
is finding themselves in a really nice spot, crawling in with that ghillie suit, and is still not spotted by Wino Cake. So really a tough place for these players to be. Really, this is such an uncomfortable feeling to be out there in the middle of nowhere with really no cover, just sort of hugging the hillside here as Wino Cake is fine, kind of dancing back and forth between trees. Gibbet is trying to find something over there between that buggy and the trees. He's going to go down. Nice shot from Fine. That's another kill. You mentioned Fine picking up some kills in this game. This is going to be big, but Fine goes down as well.
And now with 3 left alive, Wino Cake actually wide open to Yeeters, depending on how this goes. But as we see Kurwa over here, going to be stuck just on the edge of the blue circle, 10 seconds until it has to move. And it seems like Wino Cake is going to be paying close attention over there. And this is looking like Yeeters actually is in a very good position to try and close this one out, depending on how this goes. Both of these players that are left, sitting out just barely outside of the circle, are going to be forced into a position where they either have to run forward very fast, there's no cover, and they don't know where this third person is. They only know where each other are, although I think Wino Cake is currently a little bit open. Depending on where Yeeter's camera goes, he should see Wino Cake, but I like the play of not taking a shot. There's no need to get aggressive. It looks like he did find himself a vest as well off of one of those players, and he's going to be able to get it. Wino Cake closes that one out. He's in the open. The circle going to tick down, and this is his time to go. He's going to take a couple shots. 1, 2, 3, all of them missing. Lays down on the ground. Wino Cake doesn't care what you have.
Wow.
He takes that one down. 7 kills to close it out. Yeeters, he found 1, but he just wasn't able to close it out. All the shots just barely off the mark and dropping to the ground. Wino Cake able to close that one out and close out game 3 of week number 5.
That was awesome. That was very impressive, Cake, as he is in such a tough spot there between a rock and a hard place. Has one player pushing him, is pinched, doesn't even know he's pinched, but he's pinched. Goes and gets the kill on Kurwa there, 7 total, and then gets sprung on by Yeeters, who's been hiding there the entire time. Yeeters with the upper hand there, ghillie suit in the weeds. Nobody knows where he is. He's the only one safely in the circle. Gets the jump on Wino Cake, but Wino Cake has the wherewithal and just the willpower to know when to dive on the ground and take some shots and get that win. 7 kills. And as we go down on the final leaderboard of game 3 there, you see Fine with 9 kills. So very impressive game for Fine. That's going to be a good amount of points. Those 4th place finish points plus the 9 kills.
Kurwa, and especially big.
Yeah.
The one thing I saw, we see Lush at number 24, but number 45 was going to be none other than Smithy. Both of those players getting low. That opens up a lot for Fine there at number 4.
Yes. Absolutely. That was a very solid finish for Fine here in game 3. We have Chandel, Craddock, Nightshade, and Chrissy, and Jabron Lames rounding out the top 10 in game 3. This has been week 5, the PUBG League.
Yeah, and I mean, this is going to be it. This has been season 1. I don't know what I'm allowed to say about what is going on in the future, but I can guarantee that there are events. We have been starting to lay them out. I believe a couple of them are going to be going. We're going to have first-person events. We're planning on that, and we've always been planning on expanding things, but I know we're going to be keeping something very similar to this, that third-person camera kind of one, or that solos. We're going to be looking at doing teams as well in the future, and just keep an eye out always at PUBGleague.gg, or you can follow them on Twitter, PUBG League. And as always, you can follow us on Twitter. It's going to be me at Gormizer, and you can follow Heyday at
Heyday TV.
And when it comes down to it, you can also follow the production. We have M-Target doing the camera work, and we have Unovi there going to be doing the, like, I guess the final production, everything that you see on there, choosing all of the nice tunes and making sure that all of the timers are either right or woefully inaccurate, depending on how things are going behind the scenes. But as it stands, that's going to be it. That's week number 5, game number 3, the end of season 1. And I believe we're going to have some nice topsy turn-ups. As we can see, we will see the scoreboard tomorrow as we go through and kind of get the last few points. They should be updated either by the end of tonight or early tomorrow morning, so keep your eyes out for that. But with that, that'll be the end of the broadcast. So thank you, everyone, for coming out, and thank you for tuning in. And we will talk to you at the next event coming out here from twitch.tv/tiermonster.
See you next time.